Hi everybody, Russ and My Hammers 11. Hope you are all safe and well. Look a bit blue today. It's a lack of hair. Anyway, I hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware anytime we put new content on. As always, I'd like to thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. Today's guest, West Ham fan, on Twitter quite a bit as well. It's Jay. How are we doing, Jay, my man?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks. You're good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure, buddy. How have you been in this weird world we live in at the moment?
Well, it's a little bit different to what we're used to, but we get by, don't we?
We certainly do. We certainly do. And you've been keeping well, work-wise and things like that, or furloughed, or
Yeah.
what's been you up to?
Well, when we started last year, I'm in construction myself now, but
Sure.
I only had 3 weeks off at the beginning of last year, and then we got called back in, and it's been non-stop ever since.
Oh, geez. Fair enough.
Mm.
Oh, God. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, my mate's a builder, and he's never been busier. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird. It was all right for us, and people had more money in their pocket to spend, so they were getting their gardens done and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's true. And obviously now, particularly last year, everyone had their holidays, didn't they, booked, and they had them all cancelled. So they all got their money back, and it was just sitting there, and you sat in, locked in, watching Netflix, looking at how crap about how that could be redecorated. It's like, our house has been redone. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous this year. I know. It's like
I think hot tub sales have gone through the roof, haven't they?
Yeah. No, we had one of those. We had one of those sort of semi-permanent swimming pools, but we got a heater with it, and I forget to switch it off, so it is like a hot tub. So I literally take the lid off, and my glasses just steam up, and I'm like, okay. So I wait till the electricity bill comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But remember to turn it off.
Yeah, exactly. Or put one of those timers on. I can't believe I haven't done it yet. So it's weird, isn't it? Especially with everything going on. But the one thing we don't have to worry about, Jay, is West Ham. That's the one thing we don't have to worry about at the moment.
Absolutely, you got to enjoy this season while it lasts. You never know when something like this could happen again.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's really weird. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and I think this is. So obviously the DJ at West Ham or whatever. This is my 20th season, and I can't think of a more enjoyable season. In all honesty, in terms of us play, in terms of how the team are playing. I mean, last season the Boleyn was the last season of the Boleyn, and it'll be special for different ways. I wouldn't say special for necessarily for the, apart from maybe one person. This is a whole team. This is outstanding at the moment. I mean, even that team, that Boleyn team, if they went 1-0 down, I don't think they'd have the kahunas, the chutzpah, as my Jewish friends would say, to sort of keep going like these guys have. These guys don't stop.
No, they're a bit superb this year. They really have. Although the Boleyn boys, it would have been the crowd that got them through them, don't they, on those nights.
That's a great point. You're right. It's the crowd with the 12th man there, and these lot have done it without a crowd. So fair play to them.
Definitely. And I was lucky enough to work at the Boleyn for 5 years in the 90s.
I was going to say I was going to be a little. You did it for me. I was going to do a little segue into it. So obviously you were the ground staff, weren't you, for a few years?
I was, from 95 to just after 2000. So funny enough, I did my work experience there when I was 15. And when I left school, they offered me a job. So yeah, brilliant.
And that was a great time, because obviously that was coming into the Redknapp era, which was arguably our most successful period in the modern day, sort of recent history. So it's any funny stories? Any funny stories, Jay?
But a couple of times, obviously on the ground staff, we was on the maintenance obviously side of things, and it was our job to fix seats when they got busted and stuff like that. Yeah. And one of my earliest ones was I was about 16. We had Man United at home, and we got a call about 15 minutes into the game that one of the Man United supporters had broke their seat, and it fell upon me to go in amongst them all. And now the only way to change one of those seats is with a crowbar. Quick and easy. So I had to get a police escort into the Man United end with a crowbar and change these seats that they've been smashing up all game. So bit daunting, but it was funny. It was good.
But you went tooled up, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I had backup, so I was right.
and you're backup, tooled up and backup. Come on, let me at him.
Exactly.
Let me at him.
Yeah, exactly that.
And obviously, you said obviously work experience. You went to work at West Ham, and the first question I always ask most people is why West Ham. So why is it your club, Jay? Why are you a Hammer? What's your story, man?
Well, I was born in Forest Gate, just down the road, and I moved to Upton Park behind the Upton Park station in Queen's Road there for since I left in 2000. So just been brought up in Green Street all my life, and you could hear when I didn't go to the games when I was a young lad, you could hear the scream, my balcony just behind Queen's Market there. So I was always wondering, who scored sort of thing. So it's just inevitable. It's the only team going to be for me.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. A lot of it is, you speak to a lot of people, it is about geography, isn't it? It is about, all the different, the fact is you live so close to them. So, but for some people, I mean, obviously we have lots of weird people, not weird people, but I think, maybe a bit weird, to be honest. To be perfectly honest, I mean, these guys, bless them, they might be the other side of the world, and they support West Ham for no reason, no geographical reason. They just picked a team, and it's West Ham. So
it could be down to just one odd player. Yeah. One player that comes to the club, and that's it. It's done it for them.
Exactly. It's really, really strange, but I love it. Particularly like the guys like the Indian Hammers and people like that who have, I mean, Bangalore. I mean, I think he's never been to West Ham, but it's brilliant. Or the Chicago Hammers, or we have guys from Thailand and Hong Kong, and it's a funny old club, isn't it? We're a funny old club, I think, West Ham, in terms of it's a strange little club in the middle of East London, but we've got our bases. Could you imagine if we actually won something? Do you know what I mean? If we actually, it'd be scary,
mad, wouldn't it? It would be
scary.
Yeah, well, we're getting a lot of stick this year as it is, just because we're doing well. I heard, was it Danny Mills on TalkSport today?
Yeah,
banging on about if we got into if we finished it at the Champions League, it wouldn't be the Champions League because West Ham are in it, which is a bit strange, isn't it?
And also considering the man when he was playing the Champions League for Leeds, they were like third that previous season. So those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Do you know what I mean?
We're just enjoying it, aren't we? We're just enjoying it.
Yeah, we're enjoying it. I mean, realistically, where do you think we'll finish this season, Jay?
Obviously, Champions League would be fantastic. We never expected it in a million years. If we don't hit European spot, I'd be a bit gutted. Some people saying if we make the top 10, it's been a successful season. I'd say yeah, but I'd still be a bit gutted. I think we deserve a European place at least.
No, I agree. I think European places is. I think it's. I mean, for me, I did a little one of those predictor things the other day. I don't know why. I think just from out pure curiosity, and I think it ended up we were fourth. With like a point on Tottenham and something like that. It's ridiculous, but I think I think Europe is a definite. I'm pretty sure, but it's what competition. And if you said to us at the beginning of the season, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to miss out Champions League, you'll be in Europa League, you missed out Champions League by 2 points or whatever, you'll be like, what? Considering the season we had last year and the last few years, it's anything.
Most seasons,
yeah. Pretty much every season, bar like one every 5, isn't it? Usually, I mean, the last season was the Boleyn was the last decent season, and since then it's been it hasn't been great, but this season's different, and also it's how we finish next season as well. I'm one of those. This season's not done with, but for me now, it's if we finish next season like in the top 10 or top 8, then that's something, because it's two top 8, two top 8, two top 7 finishes in succession. You can see Moyes is like putting something together. He's actually sort of building a project, which for me is really exciting as a West Ham fan. But hey, we'll see. We'll see.
Obviously, you're at the stadium a lot.
Yeah.
Do you feel when people make these comments that West Ham are playing well because there is no fans in the stadium? Do you believe in that?
Partly, yes. In all honesty, partly, but only
no pressure.
we've only for reference the beginning of the season. So when the fixture list came out, we were like, "Oh fuck, we're not getting a point till Fulham," which was like mid-November or something like that, wasn't it? And so there was already that stuff, and obviously Grady got sold as well just before. We didn't have a particularly good pre-season, in my opinion.
No.
And obviously we were absolutely dross for that Newcastle game. We were crap for that Newcastle game, and you could imagine at the end of that game, with everything about the fact we had all these really tough fixtures, and everyone said this is the only thing we can do is get some points out of this Newcastle game. That's the 8th time we're going to get points, and we don't. You could imagine the fans be on the back, and then obviously Arsenal away a little bit better, but still not great. And it's the same with this team. That's the only, again, I'm splitting hairs really, but for me, the only criticism of the team is they take time to get going. So every time we've had a break, an international break, or a COVID break, or a circuit breaker, or whatever, it's taken 2 or 3 games for us to hit our form. It takes Antonio 6 games to hit our form, And so I think the fact is they can what's the word? They can grow into the team. They can grow into the ethos that Moyes is trying to do. It's given Moyes more time to do it, and I think we're seeing the benefits now. Now, when the fans come back, so hopefully Southampton last game of the season, hope we get 10,000 in then. If not next season, hopefully. They'll come back with renewed optimism of the team. Everyone will be dying to see the stadium again. Everyone will be dying to sing bubbles. Everyone will be dying to cheer people. So I think now they're desperate, because I think actually now the fans would give us that extra push for that Champions League spot. Do you know what I mean? That extra 10%. So
especially if we do bring European football to the stadium next year.
Oh, could you imagine? It'd be amazing. And so. By my rough calculations, if everything goes well on Boris's roadmap, whatever it is, whether it's the Champions League qualifiers or Europa League qualifiers or the Europa Conference this year, they got Europa Conference next year, whether it's that qualifiers or even the Betway Cup, we'll be through to the final of the Betway Cup. There'll be 60,000 fans there, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I think everyone's really excited about that. So it's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, no, I honestly believe that at the beginning bit, if we didn't have the fans not being there helped out the team. In my opinion, I mean, some people disagree with that. Fair enough, but in my opinion, I think that's the case. Just because I can see at times, and also there have been at times where we might not have played to our best ability, but then this is a different. I just think everything's different now. It's a different West Ham. It's a different team. And even if we go down, as you said, they have that fight, and I think the fans respect that, and they know that it's a different team. So I think they'd give people a little bit more leeway. And obviously the news, that Mark's. I mean, next season's gonna be great as well, because obviously everything, and then it's gonna be Mark's last season as well. So there's renewed optimism to coming along, because you want to give Mark a send off, or you won't want to shout, you won't want to run on a pitch or anything like that. And that was 3
deserve it.
Oh, he does deserve it, man. But what I liked about his interview was there was no bullshit there. Do you know what I mean? There's no bullshit. He was like, I'm not doing it for a jolly up. I'm doing it because I think I can still play at that level, and I think he can still play at that level. I think he's definitely one of those players who he's like, that sort of 15, 20-minute man. Do you know what I mean? He'll come on, do the job for 20 minutes, and then that's it. That's his role.
Absolutely.
And he can do that for a long time. He could do it. I mean, to be honest, I reckon he could do it even more than the 1-year contract, to be honest, because he's bloody fit. Hasn't been injured, doesn't get injured very often, which is a huge thing. Why he plays with so many games. Sorry, I'm just changing my headphones while I'm talking, because this lead's gone. So but continuity's not going to work, because it's going to look really shit now. But anyway, but it doesn't matter. We don't edit it anyway. But I think he's just brilliant, and obviously the news that Fabianski's got his new deal, which is great as well.
I think that was a real bonus. That was.
Yeah, it was a real bonus, but also, I mean, it just shows you, it means hopefully that that next season or the summer that's coming, we're going to be going for the striker. We don't necessarily have to worry about the goalkeeper this year, and it gives Moyes enough time to do what Moyes does best and find a gem. He's done well. He's found some gems this season, and he can find another one in terms of the goalkeeper. And I wouldn't want to buy a goalkeeper who's going to necessarily come into the team and be second choice. Would you go to West Ham, be a second choice? If you were, I don't know, a first choice goalkeeper already. So at least in the summer next year we can get we can get a good replacement for Fabianski. Hopefully, sort of a young, hungry replacement that we can have for the next 10 years. That's the dream for me. But yeah, anyway, who knows? Who knows?
See how it goes. See how it pans out.
That's why it goes. That's why you were the groundsman. That's why I'm not. That's why I'm doing this thing rather than actually, running the football club. So there we go. But I managed to change my headphones while doing the interview, which I was very impressed with. So I can actually hear you properly.
Professional, yeah.
Very professional. Though it's red though, but I don't mind it. So let's talk about the Hammers 11, Jay. So as I said, everyone we get on the channel puts together an 11 of the players that they've seen play. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. You can pick whoever you want. It doesn't have to be the best. It could be the worst. It could be the most injury prone, the ones with the best songs, whatever, or your fans' favourites or whatever it is. But the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's the only rule. It's a simple little rule. Otherwise, yourself, you and me, for example, we never saw. Well, unless the older Oil of Ule is doing well for you, Jay, we never saw we never saw Bobby Moore play and people like that. So,
no.
Although they'd been our dream team, we didn't have the luxury of watching him play.
No.
So that's basically why we do it. Otherwise, everyone's have the same bloody 11, to be honest. Right. Okay. So let's start. Let's start in goal, Jay. Who's going to be in goal for the J11 between the sticks?
It's got to be Ludo, surely.
Yeah, good old Ludo McCloskey.
Has to be. Yeah, I just think he done so well for us in the 90s, and some of the main games when we first got into the Premier League, when we stopped Man United from winning the league and stuff like that. He was just he was great on those days, and all the fans loved him. He very rarely did anything wrong. Great shot stopper. No. Saved the odd penalty, so yeah, decent. I liked him.
And it was always Man United, wasn't it? Always Man United with him. He just, I don't know what it was, but always Man United. But yeah, no, he was great, wasn't he? And a top bloke as well, by all accounts. We've had lots of fans obviously pick Ludo on their team, and he always, they have a little anecdote of, might be the Scandinavian Hammers or something like that, and how he spent 2 hours after a game talking to them all and stuff like that, and some of the players as well. Yeah, funny stories of Ludo rather. I think the best one was Trevor Morley was the best one. When Ludo had just signed because he didn't speak much English, and he lived at the Swallow Hotel, and that's what he could say was swallow. And then there's a Christmas lunch, the Christmas dinner, where they forgot to tell him it was fancy dress, and I had to get my fancy dress out. Oh, go back and watch the Morley one; it's hilarious. He's so funny about Ludo, but top man, top man.
Yeah, right, okay, top goalkeeper.
Top goalkeeper. Let's put Ludo in. Loopy Ludo, as my granddad used to call him. Right, okay. Let's go into defence. Let's go left back. Who'll be left back, Jay?
There's only one, isn't there? Surely.
Razvan Rat.
Dixie.
No.
Dixie.
Oh, Dixie. Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Closely run thing. Yeah. Julian Dix, the Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. Fantastic. I mean, when he was a bit gutting when he left. For Liverpool, wasn't it? So, but then he came back, and
they all do, don't they?
And he hit the ground running again, right where he left off. He didn't, he was brilliant to see, brilliant. And I think he wanted to come back. I think he was always due to come back, wasn't he?
I think so. I think with him, for me, he was just. I've said it before quite a few times on the channel. He there's something about him, as a left back. It wasn't the most glamorous position. being a left back. But he made it cool. Do you know what I mean? He made it cool. He made it. You would sit there and watch him play, and just I just found him phenomenal. It's just how he'd galvanise a team from that position. It's not the most, as I said, not a particularly sexy position, but he made it really cool. And everyone wanted to be a left back. No one gave a shit about being left back really, but everyone was being left back when Julian Dix was playing. And
can you imagine him in today's game with people like Grealish and Salah?
I don't think Julian would get many game times with VAR. I'll be perfectly honest. I think he'd do like one every. Yeah, you'd wheel him out for the Villa games and Liverpool games just to doing like Salah or to doing Grealish, and he'll be like, right, I'm off. Thanks, that's me done. But no, he's a top man. Top man.
They knew they got tackled. They would have known they got tackled by him, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, a good way of describing it. They know he's got tackled. Yeah, exactly. It's so true. Yeah, no, and he's a top bloke as well. They all are really, all the older players. Obviously, we've had him on the channel as well, and he was an absolute gent. And I'll be honest, I was shitting myself when I interviewed him because he's Julian Dix. He's like, I don't get starstruck, but he was Julian Dix, and you know what he's like on the pitch. And you assume that character is similar to his persona off the pitch, but it's completely different. And
he's a nice bloke.
Yeah, he's a top bloke, and he's also a guy that I think you would, and that's why I think a lot of the older players, people still love listening to the older players' stories and stuff because they're just relatable. Do you know what I mean? It's like I could see Julian. I mean, he owned a pub. Do you know what I mean? He's like. You could walk into your local and, a Julian Dix type person will be propping the bar up. Or maybe not Ludo, but you know what I mean? That's that era particularly. I don't think Ludo, bless him. But Julian definitely. No, I loved him. I love him. He's an absolute top bloke. Right, okay, so let's put Dixie in. Put Dixie as left back. Let's go right back then, Jay. Let's go on the other side, mate.
Right back this is a good one for me because I just thought he was absolutely fantastic for us. So I'm going Tim Breaker.
Timmy Breaker.
And I remember obviously going to the games before I even worked there, and the sheer size of that man's legs was just ridiculous. It was just absolutely ridiculous, and the way he could just bomb forward and stuff like that. He was great. He was good. He's straight in for me.
And I think Tim Breaker has got this. I call it. When I look at Soufal, I see a lot of the Breakerism, so to speak. Of how good Tim Breaker was. For me, he was always. we've had Tim on as well. Actually, when we interviewed him, I was like, "Do you know what, Tim? I'll be honest. When I was young, I didn't really remember you much. You were just always there, but you were always there. But the fact that I didn't remember you means you didn't make any mistakes. You weren't. You were always there. So you were just like, no respect to Tim, but like a comfy chair in the corner. It's there. It does a job. But when it's not there, you go, hang on, something's weird. Yeah, and I think that's with Soufal. He was a right back, and after Tim, until Schemmel, really, we never really had a strong right back, and it was almost like and then now Soufal's back in, is playing, and you go, that's better.
Yeah,
and that's why Soufal, I don't think will ever win Hammer of the Year. He's my pick for Hammer of the Year this year, but I don't think he'll win it because of the Tim Breaker effect. Because he's always 7, 8 out of 10 consistent, and the consistent people never get necessarily picked. It's always the superstars. You know what I mean? Unfortunately,
absolutely. Yeah.
But no, I love Tim. I think he's fantastic. He's a top guy, and he's helped us out in a few charity things as well.
Good.
Yeah, didn't even flinch, when I said, yeah, sure, straight on, I love him. He's a great guy. Right, so we've got Ludo, we've got Dixie, we've got Tim Breaker. Centre-halves. Who's your first centre-half then, Jane?
I'm going to go with Bilic.
Oh, nice. Super Slav. Yeah. There he is.
Super Slav. Yeah. Again, just solid. Just never really put a foot wrong, did he? He was always controlling it from day one.
He put one foot wrong, and that was getting on the train to Everton. But apart from that, yeah.
Well, yeah. Apart from that,
I know what you mean. No,
I think he was great. He obviously loves the club, being there at the last game of the season at the Boleyn. You could see how emotional it was for him. It was a bit gutting that he, didn't give a bit more time. I feel he could have done a better job for us. But it's the game these days, isn't it? If the results don't turn up, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's so much riding on staying up, isn't there, in terms of survival of the club, let alone just, everything else that goes around it. I mean, looking back at it retrospectively, I think he was the perfect man for that last season at the Boleyn. Him and Julian as a two, Bilic, love the club, passionate. To be honest, just because of the way the fans were that season and what every game meant, the fact is, when it would be the last time he played Southampton at the Boleyn, it was the last time he played Burnley at the, everything was the last one. So there was always that natural, extra level of sort of spice to the games. I don't think you really needed to motivate the players as much as you would have normally done for a normal season. And that was probably Bilic's downfall, I think, in a weird way. Looking at it sort of from looking back 5 years, or if it's 3 or 4 years on now, in that he was like he
was almost like to do too much.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And it was like then he was moving to a bigger stadium, so everything was different. The team that we used to play Upton Park and stadium, and he was. I think that was too much for him. I think it was too much for him as a manager. He's a great international manager because clearly all the players loved him. Well, the ones that were winning, so like obviously his relationship with Payet and stuff like that. And, that was brilliant to see. And you can see how much he loved the players. And as an international manager, that's what you want. You want someone who can build a team bonds very, very quickly, over a 2-week period of international breaks. But if club football, and that's, obviously he did a great job at West Brom in the Championship. And then when it went into when it went into the Premier League, didn't work. And maybe because he didn't have that other side to him. You know what I mean? I think West Brom had enough in their locker to go up last season in the Championship. Yeah. So it was just him about galvanising the team, keeping them whipped up, and they did the job. When the chips are down a little bit, I don't think there's that sort of harsh side of him. I think he wants to be able to make sometimes.
Yeah, I just think that obviously, he could just be given a bit more time. You can see he's passionate in all the jobs he's been at.
Definitely.
I just feel a bit sorry for him in the fact that he doesn't get given enough time. But like you say, it is business, and results is a bit of a results game.
It is, unfortunately, isn't it? It is with these things. But he's made your 11s. That's all right. That's good. Right. Okay. So we'll put Super Slav in. Who is Super Slav going to partner in the centre back positions, then, mate?
I'm going to go with Ferdinand or Rio.
Rio. Nice.
From day one. Again, he was there when I was at the stadium, at the ground, and just a genuine nice bloke, even at a young age. Always willing to help people. Even when Cole turned up, he just helped him immensely, and I'm sure Joe would even say that. So he's just brilliant, and he flourished, didn't he, really quickly, and he made that position his own really quickly.
Definitely. No, he was one of those. He was the first, wasn't he, of that sort of modern era of academy players coming through, and obviously we've had Anton on, and Anton has spoken about obviously having his brother and being Rio Ferdinand's brother and stuff like that, and a lot of pressure on him. And I think with Rio, I just think he still comes across as a West Ham fan. I know obviously United's really his club, in terms of how he talks but you still think he's always got that soft spot for West Ham. Because obviously what we gave him the platform to then go out and have the career he had. But he was a phenomenal player. He obviously had a phenomenal career.
We was that platform for a lot of those academy players around that time, wasn't we? Lampard, obviously, Carrick, those sorts of players. They all were, we were producing them quicker than we could use them at one point, I think.
Yeah. It's so true. No, it's true. We, Yeah, it was a phenomenal time. Obviously we've had Tony Carr on. Fucking hell, his 11 was amazing. His 11 was literally, because it was
Yeah,
like
he's
the
superb.
the Academy 11. It was basically the World Cup squad from 2010. In terms of who's come through the ranks at West Ham. And yeah, I mean, he was just, yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal time for West Ham. And it's one of those. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Of what I love about West Ham is it's always cool. I always call it like the sliding doors club. What could have been? What could have been if this happened? What could have been if I know Marlon Harewood hadn't done his leg in that 2006 final, and he swung with the wrong leg because he only had one leg at the end? Or what would have been if we'd kept those nucleus of that sort of those sort of academy players? Where would we have been? I mean, Harry himself says that he reckons he won the title with that lot, and I don't think you could criticise. I don't think you could disagree, to be honest.
No.
In terms of where they went on to become, but yeah, Rio was like the first, top bloke. Right, okay, back four. As your back four done, let's go into midfield. Let's go left wing. Jay, who should we have on the left wing, my friend?
Left wing, I'm going to go for, I don't know, see, because my middle ones, I've picked them all, but they're not in any necessarily.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Just go for player one, then midfield one.
I'm gonna go for Payet.
Yeah,
gonna go for Payet. He can play both. He's proved he can play both sides, can't he? Whatever side of the pitch he was on, he'll put a ball in. He play anywhere, can't he? Yeah. So I'll put him out there.
Special player, wasn't he? He was special.
Absolutely.
Special.
It's such a shame, isn't it, what happened? But I don't think we'll ever fully understand why he wanted to go. But for the time that we had him, he'll always be a cult hero and, superb. Just a superb player to watch.
He was just one of those players who you could just... I mean, there's a few players like that who... you'd be excited to go and see. You get to the game and you'll be excited to see Payet play. But not just you as a West Ham fan, but people like I don't know, guys like cool. Just got a really good footballers just text me about it. Sorry. I'm excited about that. Anyway, sorry. But with Payet, it's like you'd go to see Payet, but it's not just you as a West Ham fan, but it'd be the opposition as well, because he was that good as a player. And he was I remember that was the only time, maybe now I'd say, maybe now like Souček and Rice, I'd say, where all your mates who weren't West Ham fans wanted your player in their team. They
Absolutely.
all wanted Payet. He was top of the fantasy football leagues. Everyone wanted him, but we had him. He's always winning the FIFA things and stuff like that, but we had him. And it was an honour to watch him play for West Ham. Absolutely.
Like you say, we had him for obviously a brief period as it was, but what a brief period it was.
Oh yeah,
wouldn't stop it for the world.
No,
and again, that was down to Bilic, wasn't it?
Yes,
Bilic grabbing
definitely.
him. That was a good bit of scouting there, wasn't it?
10 million quid or whatever we paid for him. It was absolute peanuts, really.
I'd never heard of him beforehand.
No. I mean, everyone. I'd heard of him because when it was. He's done relatively quick. I remember the transfer as well. So you didn't really have that sort of barrage of YouTube clips on Twitter to go through. Like everyone's does when someone's
gets mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here he's on YouTube. He's brilliant. I knew he was you saw like he was top of like Europe. He had like the most assists or whatever or something like that in Europe. But you think playing for France, playing for Marseille, he wasn't even in the French team really, so he couldn't have been that good. But he did it from day one. I remember that Southend game in the pre-season friendly. I think he scored a free kick, and he was brilliant. And you're thinking, hang on, we got a player here, but it's only pre-season. Can he do it when at the Emirates? Yeah, he can. He was doing the 12s. He was doing the Rabona.
And Old Trafford.
Yeah, and you're thinking, we've got a good player here. And yeah, it doesn't happen very often that all the stars align for West Ham. There's always one which is slightly out of alignment, but that's with Bilic, with Payet, the last season at the Boleyn. It just worked. It just all worked. And I mean, you know, I know Pyatt has his critics for how he left, but you know, he joined us the same way he left, and Christ, the team that he left to join us wanted him back, so he went back there. So it's not like, you know, I wouldn't take that too to heart, but you know,
I just think we were more disappointed that he didn't stay longer, because obviously how good he was. We just wanted him longer.
It was that, and also I think maybe if he was going to go, if he'd gone in the summer after the Euros, I think that was a natural break. Do you know what I mean? He had the great season at the Boleyn. He went to Euros, was played phenomenal. Talk of Real Madrid and signing for like 70 odd million. Great. If he went for 70 million, we wouldn't be calling him a snake or anything like that. The fact was he then started the season with us and basically had a soul
refused to play, didn't he?
Pretty much. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, he should have gone in the summer rather than get 20 million. We doubled our money in him, but we could have got 50, 60 million maybe if Real Madrid were after him, whatever, and then that could have been reinvested. But hey ho, again, another sliding doors moment there. Yeah, been and done. Move on. Just think of the memories. Right, okay, we'll put Pyatt the first midfielder. Who's the second midfielder then, Jay?
I'm going to go with Bishop, Mr. Bish.
That's it. We get a retweets. Bish, you're watching. Because basically, any time he comes on, I mentioned it and he retweets it. And then he mentioned a little comment. Bish. Retweet.
Yeah,
anyway, carry on, Jay.
Yeah,
tell us how great Bish was.
Oh, superb in the midfield there. He riled up Roy Keane a few times, I remember. I think they was a bit of an early clash, weren't they, on many games?
Yes.
But great footballer. Just all round, just always everywhere, up and down, up and down, up and down.
For me, I think slightly ahead of his time, I'll be honest. I think he'd be really suited to the modern game now in terms of, it was almost like that time there was, no disrespect to players, but he was such a silky player that I think he would have done. He reminds me a bit of with City when they had David Silva. Not necessarily the quickest guy, but incredibly gifted and could just pick out a ball and pick out a pass, and that's what Bish could do really well. I mean, we've had him, we've had Monks on as well, and they talked to themselves as a two. Monks was like, we weren't arrogant, but we were cocky. We knew our ability. We'd take on anyone. So we'd take on Roy Keane. We'd take on Patrick Vieira, and we know we'd have a good go against them. And you can sort of get that. And I love Bish. I think he's a fantastic guy.
I think one of my best goals he scored was, I think it was Sheffield United away, and it was a little screamer from about 25 yards. I think it was. Yeah, superb. Great striker with the ball as well.
Yes, he was a very sweet striker of the ball, wasn't he? Some people got power, but they don't tend to connect well. But he always seemed to connect well when he was shooting. I love him. I love the fact that he just sort of, he lives in America. It's just like seems to having the time of his life out there. So jealous. But all right, we'll put Bish Bosh in. So we've got Pyatt, Bish Bosh. Who's the next midfielder then?
I'm going to go with Sinclair.
Oh, tricky. See, this is racking them in. You see, racking them in. We've had Trevor, we've had Bish, and now we've got Sinks. So that's 2 retweets. I love. This is great for social engagement, my friend Jay. This is great. We'll put Trevor. Tell me about what you love about Trev.
Well, I think Trevor. Everyone remembers him, that overhead kick for QPR that he done. Yeah. Everyone loved that, didn't they? And he was always a superstar for them. And then when we got a chance to sign him, it was just crazy. He was just always one of the ones that you want in your team. You knew he was going to do the running. You knew he could put a ball in. You knew he could score goals. He was just another exciting player. Brilliant, really.
What I love about Trevor Sinclair was he was so tenacious as a player. Do you know what I mean? He would probably do quite well in our team at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Because he would never give up, and he'd always be on it. And you could never. And the fact is, he's a bit like Antonio. He played about 4 or 5 different positions in his time at West Ham. Still scored a shed load of goals. Obviously, when Jay Ling scored his 2 on his debut, Sinks did that. He was the last person to do that before Jay Ling. So, I just think he's great, and him and Bish, as a not like now, in terms of they're on Twitter and the way they talk in the press, both love the club, and I love to see. And actually, Bish and Trev together, I say this all the time when we talk about them two. So around the ground now, there's all these sort of Panini stickers, like of legends. They got Jeff Hurst and Rio and stuff like that. And I was walking around it pre-match one game before I take a few pictures, and I took one. And Bishop's got a picture there, and Trevor's got a picture there. So I took pictures and sent it to both of them, saying, "Oh look, just thought you'd like to see this," because obviously no one's been round to really see the stadium, so they wouldn't have known. And they both sent incredible messages back about how honoured they were to be, pictured
still
around
there at the club.
Yeah, and it's like. It took me a bit by surprise. Maybe because my perception of football now has changed a little bit with footballers. I find it a little bit sterile, football. I think, it's more of a business than a passion. Back then, Bish and Trevor, it was passion for them. And, maybe it's got a bit tainted now. So, but they were so touched to see and I mean, Trev's amazing, honestly. He's helped me out a few bits as well.
The fans still think a lot of them, don't they?
Yes, they do, and it's because they give it back as well. Do you know? It's not like, no, I'm all right, thank you. I've done my time, I'm off. Because they give it back and they get involved, and they might, some people might, some things Trev might say and they don't agree with it, or Bish, but but they've always got an opinion, and they've got the fans' interests at heart, and that's what I love about them. Them as a two, I love them. Right, okay. Payet, Bishop, Sinclair. Who's next?
It's got to be Noble. I'm going to put him in because he's just, Mark Noble.
He's got to be Noble. I thought he was going to say David Noble. So obviously, do you remember David Noble?
No, I don't.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, just superb. Just Mr. West Ham, isn't he? Coming up to, not many players, especially nowadays, spend their whole career at one club. Obviously, Gerrard and players like that. But he just loves the club. He'll do anything for the club, wouldn't he? And it's shown. Like you say, he's hardly ever injured. He's always available, even when he's been dropped, especially this year. He hasn't moaned about it. He hasn't wanted to strop or anything like that. And he knows, obviously, he's got another year in him, maybe more, like you said. Who knows? But he's just superb from day one.
I think he's the fact that he hasn't. I mean, obviously, some again modern football now it's all tainted me a little bit. Where they've, if someone's out of the team for 5 games or 10 games, whatever, they'll be in the press asking for a transfer or asking for a move. But Mark's got the club's best interests at heart. It's not about Mark Noble. It's about West Ham, and. Because as a fan, I think that makes a big difference. And as you said, the fact that he's come out and says, I'm signing this 1 year extension. It's not because I'm going for a jolly up. It's because I still think I can do a job. If I didn't think I could do a job, I wouldn't do the extension. And I totally understand what he was saying there. And I mean, obviously, as you said, I'm fortunate enough there to be at the ground, and when he's not playing, when he's not in the squad, I wish I'd actually recorded him. It was the Chelsea game last year that we won 3-2 when Yarmouth scored right at the end, and he was in the squad. He was watching it. The auxiliary squad, they called them, sit in the disabled seats, because obviously it's already 2 meters apart, really, obviously for the wheelchair access, and. He was watching that game like it was a fan. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't watching it, like you see when the clips when it goes to it goes to the dugout, and the players are watching the game, but not really watching it avidly. They're just like But he was like literally every ball, check. Yeah, it was every ball. He was trying to, come on, and watching it like a fan. And I know he's a fan, but actually seeing it. In real life, I thought, fucking hell, having our captain, and he made a good point in that little video he did with Rob, where he said, having, if I was not if I was a fan and my captain was a West Ham fan and and a one man club, I'd be really, really proud of that. And I am really proud of the fact that we've got a West Ham fan as our captain, as our club captain, because I think it just makes a huge difference. In terms of, in terms of that's one player you could never question their commitment because they're playing for their club.
It's the extra passions there if you're actually a fan.
Exactly. Exactly. And the fact that he's done it for 17 seasons and next season will be his 18th and his last season is incredible. We're actually starting a series soon, actually, called the Noble Era. It's called the Noble Era, where we're basically going through every player that he's played with in those 17 seasons. There's a lot of them. There we go. See, look, just to prove it, there we go. There's the little banner. Look at that, the Noble Era. So that's coming out very, very soon. Yes, I thought it was going to be a 26-part series, but apparently we didn't have any. There's no one he's played with the letter X in their surname at the beginning of the surname. So no, unfortunately, I know.
No.
I mean, Xander Silva would work, but it's his first name. But yeah. So it's a 25-part series. But anyway, there's a lot. 211 players he's played with at his time at West Ham.
Wow. And a few managers as well.
Yeah. Oh, Christ. Yeah, that's a great shout. That's a great shout. I mean, he would have done 3 of them in a year when we went down. Because he just started playing that season. So, yeah. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, how many managers? That'd be for the next... Yeah, it's quite a few. It'd be quite a few, let's be honest. But yeah, he's just great marking it. I absolutely love him. Right, okay, so we've got Bish Bosh, we've got Sinks, we've got Noble, we've got Payet, we've got strikers we need. Who's your first striker then?
I'm gonna go old school and go Trevor Morley.
Oh, this is great. Trevor Morley. Love him.
Trevor Morley. Oh, Nudger.
Oh,
Nudger Morley.
Great. Nudger Morley. Top man, isn't he?
Top man. Top boy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, going back to the link up with him and Bish, the through balls for each other, that they worked there. They had a great connection from midfield to striker. But Morley, he knew where the goal was.
Yeah, he certainly did. Yeah, and a really unselfish player. We did an appreciation night for him a few weeks ago, and I to be honest, when you see all things put together, he scored some great goals. Just not, I always assumed they were with his head, but he just had a lot of power behind his shot, and a lot of shots would the goalkeeper would parry in. He couldn't handle the shot, and a lot of assists and a lot of the donkey work, and would just keep going and going and going. And
he was a sort of striker. He was always in the right place at the right time for me. He was always there. He was there, wasn't he? If the ball dropped off the crossbar, he was there. If the ball dropped, if the keeper spilled the ball, he was there.
Yes,
he got in the right positions.
Great anticipation, really, as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And it was funny because I got his number and I texted him to tell him we were doing it. And the next day he texted me back. He went, "Oh, I'll take 7.5," because what we did, we'd give rating at the end of their legendary status. So I think we said Jeff Hurst, if Jeff Hurst was a 10, so Jeff was a 10, what would Trevor be? And between us, it became an average of 7.5. And he said, "I'll take that." And obviously we've had him on the channel as well. And he's brilliant. Honestly, I love him. He's like, afterwards, he's like, because I told him where I lived and where he used to live. He's like, I still got my flat there. Next time I'm down, we'll go for a beer. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, go for a beer.
Oh my God.
Fucking hell. That'd be amazing. I was like, all right, Trev, yeah, no problems. Definitely do that. I was like, Jesus Christ. And he's brilliant. He's like, Russ, mate, you can talk about, when we started, he went, look, I'm an open book. If you want to talk about being stabbed, I can talk about being stabbed. You want to talk about me and Bish being in bed? We can talk about me and Bish being in bed. Don't worry. Right, talk about
Did you?
No, I didn't.
No.
No, it's done.
When you go down the pub, you get
then we'll get nothing's off the record, Trev. But yeah, no, he's a lovely bloke, and we had a great time, really, really good time chatting to him. Right, and obviously still loves the club. Still does. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff for Norwegian sports TV, and always is covering the West Ham games. And he doesn't speak very good Norwegian, but he can understand it. So there we go. So they ask the questions in Norwegian, he responds in English. Little factoid for you there, Joe.
Little
There we
fact.
go, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Little factoid. There we go. Right. Okay. So Morley's in. There's one more spot, my man. Who's the last spot going to?
It's
So I just
got to
type
be
in
Di Canio.
I was about to say. So I just type in Jonathan Caleri now. Right. Paolo Di Canio. Tell me about why Paolo
said Marco Boogers.
Someone has appeared in one.
Hmm?
He appeared, Marco Boogers. Yep.
Did he?
He's appeared. Yeah. James John, who does the We Are West Ham podcast, picked him because he has probably one of the only Marco Boogers shirts. So he, when he was, I think it was his 9th birthday, he was at the club shop getting it done. They just signed Boogers that day, and his dad convinced him to get Marco Boogers 17, whoever it was, put on the back of his shirt. And then obviously they played that game. And and he still got the shirt. Another little fun fact: when Marco Boogers was at West Ham, could you guess who his roommate was? So Harry picked this person specifically to room with Marco Boogers.
No, go on.
Martin Allen.
Or Mad Dog.
It's like fucking hell, it's like putting water on a fire in it, on a chip pan fire in it, them two. And Martin Allen had the audacity to say that Marco Boogers was a bit of a weirdo. He was a bit crazy. Oh, you're fucking called Mad Dog, Martin. Jesus.
He probably taught him how to tackle, and that was his downfall.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Told him what you need to do on Gary Neville. He's really going at him.
Just go through him.
Yeah. Just go straight through him. He'll be fine. Don't worry about the balls. It'll be all right. It's Gary Neville. It's okay. Right. Okay. So tell us about Paolo. Tell us about PDC.
Well, what can't you say about him? Obviously, just a hero, isn't he? Cult hero for West Ham. Always will be. He loves the club. Still does. That goal against Wimbledon. Well, many goals. He's just superb. Just a great all-round. As a striker, he just did not stop working, did he? He's constantly on the ball, constantly wanting the ball. We've had strikers even this year of late that just wouldn't even get anywhere near Di Canio.
No.
Players like Haller just don't want to work, don't want to run, always on the floor. Di Canio, superb, perfect striker. Di Canio.
Yeah, I mean he was. If you, in comparison to someone like Payet, which I think is always really interesting. I mean, for me, Payet was technically a better player than Di Canio, and probably the best player I've seen from a technical perspective at West Ham, probably ever likely to be perfectly frank. But Di Canio is my favourite player of all time because, yes, he had technical ability, but what I loved about Paolo was he had that other side to him. He had that unpredictability, but not from a football perspective, from a personality perspective. And, we want to go to football. We want to be entertained. We want to win. But, if the other team play us off the park and play beautiful football, then what can you do? And, Paolo we'd go to a game. You'd go to a game excited to see Payet play, but you'd go to a game excited to see Di Canio turn up because you didn't know what Di Canio was going to turn up.
He didn't even know what he was going to do.
He didn't. No, exactly. Christ knows. He didn't. Whether side he woke up on the bed, basically, whether he's going to play or not play today, that type of thing. And it was just brilliant. Wasn't it? Absolutely different gravy. Nowadays, and I've spoken to lots of fans and lots of ex-players about. For me, I think football's got a bit boring now. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like who did I interview the other day? Rob Lee, right? I interviewed Rob Lee, and I asked him about that, and he said, "Football now, the Premier League is like chess. It's like you do one move, and I do a move to counter your move, and and it's all like da 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 da. It's like obviously Elliot and Ollie Lee are both playing in League One, and he likes to go and watch League One football because it's like proper football. It's like two teams having a go at each other, different formations. Not everyone's doing the same thing. There's personalities. There's sort of your sort of chiseled, League One defenders against your young whippersnappers and all this type of stuff. And that's like how football used to be. Do you know what I mean? You used to have people Bishies and Morleys and Di Canios and, and Dixies and people like that. It was just personalities. Now everyone's sort of, they're all just professional athletes now. Do you know what I mean? I just think sometimes, and
Yeah,
I think that's why
you can
like,
see that there is a business side of it.
yes,
In the players,
exactly.
in their
But it's not.
attitude.
I think it's a business, but also there's a athleticism about football now, isn't it? They're finely tuned athletes rather than. I mean, we had Stag, we had Brian Deere on a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, and he was saying to me, "Oh, we used to run all around like Hainault and Epping Forest, and all the way around like miles, like 20 odd miles. They'd do as a run. You know, they'd have one of the coaches would be on the top of the transit van watching them with binoculars to make sure they were running, all that crap. Kept them running all the way back to Chadwell Heath, and they'd have a roast dinner waiting for them, you know, and things like that. You know, obviously that doesn't happen now. Like me,
No.
like meetings, I'd do all that running for a good Yorkshire pudding. I'll be perfectly honest, Jay, to be perfectly fair.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's like now that, and I think that's why someone like Declan Rice gets so much accolades by the media, because he's just like a personality. He has a personality about him. He's so approachable on interviews. You know, obviously the one they did the other day with the penalty and Sky Sport.
He's superb, isn't he?
Different class, and that's like a bit of a knock back to the old days. Do you know what I mean? Like they would all be like that on their interviews. You know, they'd all be friendly and jovial, and you know now they're just all media trained and don't want to say anything to discriminate anyone else or whatever. But you know, he comes out. He came out and said, "Oh, what do you think of the performance?" And he went, "Didn't think we played very well, to be honest." That's just really honest, and everyone really appreciates that. And no, I think
you've got to love the honesty. Yeah,
you've got to. I think you know. And I think because you go on any of the YouTube channels. I'm just writing your team down so I don't forget. And you go down all your YouTube channels, and if we've lost, everyone's like ripping into them. If we've won, everyone rips in. So he was doing the same thing, which I think is great. And long may it continue. I hope it does. I hope he doesn't. Well, hopefully we'll see.
Yeah,
hopefully a few more seasons at West Ham. I think the fact that Mark's come out and said obviously he's got one more season at the club might mean that Deck has got for me that's a career path there for him, isn't it? It's like next year still not the understudy, but you still be your team captain. But Deck, you do. Yeah, Mark comes on for his 20 minutes or his Europa League games. We'll need him. I think actually Mark will be more suited to the European games, to be honest. Slightly slower pace and stuff. But then after next season, Deck, you're the man. You're the big fish in the little pond now, man.
If we still go, do you think we'll keep hold of him?
Yeah, I think we'll keep hold of him until I don't think I think this summer we keep him. I think the whole of next season, as long as we're doing all right, we keep him. And then I think it's the next transfer window, so 2022, or 2023, like the January transfer window. If we're not doing well, then because Mark Noble's not there,
something there. Yeah.
Yeah, if ever, not if ever, but if that to me seems, as I said, it's like a job. If you've got a job and someone says to your boss, "Oh, you're going to be here, and this is the pecking order," and now there's a career path for him. That's the way I see it now. So at West Ham, and he's a clever boy. He knows that when Mark Noble plays a 6, we put him down for a 7 because he's Mark Noble. It's true though, isn't it? It's true. It's like the one thing we do about Mark Noble is question his commitment. He might not be good enough. He might not be able to play 45 minutes or 60 minutes or 90 minutes, and then he just does it. Then he plays a cup game, and he's like, well, I don't know. Anyway,
Declan's got the respect for Mark Noble, because when he comes on, he hands him the armband straight away, isn't he? Yeah,
exactly, and that's a really cool thing to see. And again, that shows him how humble he is as a person, Deck. The fact that he does that, sometimes to the detriment of the team, to be perfectly honest. I think it's the Fulham game, wasn't he, where he was literally running after Mark, trying to put the bloody armband on, and the game's still going. You're like, for fuck's sake, it's a bit of a fabric.
Yeah, just keep hold of it. Yeah,
I don't know, right? I haven't figured out why they can't just have 2 captain's armbands, right? Mark's got one in his sock, okay, and Deck's got one, and then literally Mark puts it on and Deck takes his one. That's all you've got to do. Why have we got to put? It's 2021, man. Do you know what I mean? We
can't. If only just got the one.
Yeah, we can't. I love the fact there's just one captain's armband. It's not like, where is it today? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, Jay. Well, let's put your team up. There we go. There's the team. God, in their pomp, that'll do a job. That'll do a job, my man.
That's the one, wouldn't it?
That'll do a job today,
I'd like to see Payet play with Di Canio. That would have been something, wouldn't it?
Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine the rows? Every fucking penalty, every fucking free kick. It'd be like Bradford City all over again, wouldn't it? I'd be ripping the ball.
Mad.
I'd like to see Bish and Noble in the middle. That's a nice 2, isn't it? Oh, I like that. I'd like that as a 2. And I could just see Trev Sinks, putting in the crosses for Morley to knock down. Oh, it's a mouth-watering prospect, my friend. It's a mouth-watering prospect.
That team actually looks better now. You put it like that. It looks better than when I had it written down.
See. Yeah. 260 odd, you get used to it when you just put in the right positions. Jay, mate, it's been great. It's been lovely chatting to you. I've really, really enjoyed it.
And to you, mate. Yeah, appreciate you letting me have the opportunity to come on.
Absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching or listening, whatever you do. Give it a shout, give it a share, thanks. Give it a shout. No, give it a like, give it a like, give it a share. God, you think I'll get it sorted by now? But give it a like, give it a share. And from myself and from Jay, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jabs. Have you got your appointment yet for your jab yet, Jay?
No, still waiting. I'm not at the age bracket yet, but who knows?
Or fat enough like me. I've had mine. So
I don't know about that. I'm not standing up.
Yeah, that's the thing. From down here, I look like an Adonis. But from down here, no. Adonis up here, McDonald's from down here. But anyway, take care. So come on, you Irons. I know you've already done it. We'll do it again. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon.
Come on, you Irons.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers, Ross. Thanks for joining. Take care, mate.